Hello everyone and welcome to what is another track. Some new scenery, some incredible stuff here. I'm really excited to show you guys these videos. We have a special 4 races to get into. A lot of action, a lot of content. This is the biggest race ever in the world of 4-stroke karting in Arizona. May it be even the West Coast of the United States. So we're going to get into it. We are in qualifying. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. But as you can tell right now, we have ourselves a little bit of a conundrum in the front. So basically a little bit of a different kind of qualifying setup that we had going on. And the reason that that was not ideal for us was because, and is because, it's a bit of a time session. But as you saw a little bit earlier, they actually set us out apart. And you're not allowed to slipstream, you're not allowed to bump draft. However, kind of technically you can kind of time it in a little bit of a sense that the person in front of you, you can catch them at the end of the lap, so you'll just benefit from that slipstream as you catch them. But once you catch them, you need to get past them. If not, you'll get penalized and blah 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 blah. Now the reason that wasn't such a good thing for us was because you can tell that I'm kind of closing in, and I was closing in on this person that's in front of us, and just when we were getting to that final lap, we had this issue where actually our teammate Diego had got past him, and either he missed up on the brakes or this person right in front of me kind of went into the back of him and kind of threw him offline. And because he was thrown offline, I went offline to kind of go around him, and I lost just that little bit of time that would have given me that slipstream for my final lap and having a perfect final lap. So basically what we really needed was some slipstream. We didn't get it. We are P10. Diego actually got P4, but fortunately on the carburetor slides didn't work out for him, disqualified. Honestly, I think he just never works on his engine, so I think it just had moved over time. I really doubt he's cheating. However, what almost seems like cheating but is not is my incredible ability to get through the pack, to slice and dice through literally everyone except for all those people in front of me. And it's not because they're faster, because I said so. So we're gonna get into it. It is the first heat of 4. The way that this works is you have 4 races, obviously, right? Super cool. It's a bit of a different kind of weekend format, and the way that you want to do it, as I try to make a move here, and it is absolutely unsuccessful as Rafi shuts the door on him. You actually see him in some of the Tri-C races making the nice little trek out to Apex and get some action, and it's cool to see that we're all racing together as one, or may it seem. But as I was saying, Saturday you have 4 races. This is day 1, which is why there are 4 races, which is why this video is just a little bit longer. But at the end of the day, what that means is you can hear me ramble for just a little bit longer. Now, what that also means is the way this format works, which for one of the things you want to do is not let people buy you. That still applies. Clearly, we need to work on that, as we have started to drop back some of those incredible positions that we gained on the start. And yeah, so 4 races, you accrue, whatever, however you pronounce the word, of building up points throughout the weekend, basically. And it's not a matter of where you finish in the 6th race, which there are 2 of on Sunday. Longer races, each race gets longer as you go. It's a matter of how many points have you built up. So think of it almost like as a 6-race season. And to win the championship, you must do better than everybody else. Now, you might do worse than other people as I get overtaken by someone else who's actually joined us in some Apex racing action in the past. If you remember, he was actually the one that was absolutely shoved off in turn 1 in the one time that Tri-C finally changed the layout. I know. I promise you, I also was hoping for a little bit of a layout change. One, for, the sake of not being extremely repetitive on the videos and talking about the same exact thing on the videos, but however, he joined us and he was absolutely sent off into the oblivion, going into what is normally, as you've seen about 100 million times, the final turn, but actually turn one because it's the other direction. Now, as we're going on, as you can tell, we had a great start, but we were kind of starting to drop down in the pack. Now, as I was talking about, you want to do better than everybody else. Clearly, I am not doing so. And I do want to talk about a little bit of a thing. We did do this race last year. I believe this was actually the first video I ever posted on YouTube. Probably, I think. Now, we are doing better than last year. I will give myself that. However, throughout practice on Friday, I was really struggling in terms of just finding a quick setup. I've been told that, with this track, you really want to be on top of that. You really want to be ahead of that. I do think that through the majority of this day, actually throughout the whole day, as I get overtake right now, and I'm going to talk about that right now in just a second, I was running those 7-inch rims, and those 7-inch rims stretch the tire out. What it means is you kind of actually have a taller sprocket. It changes your gear ratio because the tire is stretched laterally and you don't get that same rollout as if you were on the 6-inch rim. So I might be on the same gear as a lot of people, but I'm actually topping out at a slower mile per hour than everybody else. So I was losing a ton of time on the straights. You're gonna notice that pretty much every single overtake that someone had on me today was in the straights. This overtaking zone, you'll see that 187 had many overtakes throughout the day. She was doing really well through there, and you can see how much time I actually gained through these sections. I know there was just an overtake, but it's not even negligible. It actually doesn't even help me. What also doesn't help me is missing the apex right there and going offline and getting into the dirty side of the track, which actually this surface had been freshly repaved, I think just about a week ago. Some track records were set in terms of the 4-stroke 206 class as well throughout this weekend. It was extremely grippy, but it was kind of snappy at the same time. It's actually the first time that I've ever played with the rear width on my go-kart. It is the first time ever. I remember I narrowed it actually a pretty decent amount. I don't remember how much, but it was more narrow, I'll tell you that. So really just trying to figure out why I was snappy. This is kind of the side that I kind of get a little bit unfamiliar with as we are approaching on the final turn, coming in to lap 11, not 11, position 11. And let's go over the results real quick. We see Diego actually had made up 11 positions, really good for him. Seth came out a little bit further behind. He didn't have an optimal qualifying session. And for me, we start in 12th because qualifying also ties into your points, which is why I'm not starting 11th. So let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can make up positions. We are kind of getting a little bit bullied by Mr. Hansen here on the right. And if you remember last year, he was the one who did the spectacular somersault into that super fast right-hander. Pretty crazy stuff. Great to see that he is here. He is back. He has gotten in a new suit that is also still ripped in the same places. Seems like he's probably done a few more catapults from the kart in this year that we've seen each other. Hopefully not. I don't know. I do know that I believe that is a new chassis. So I don't think that other time it really went out that well for him. What else isn't going too well for that is the overtake that I have made on the Burrell driver in the Tony Kart suit. Probably why he is 12th at the moment. I think if he were to match the suit to the kart, it probably gains, I think, like 2/10. And 2/10 sometimes is the difference that you need to win the race. Now, with that incredible advice going out to all of you out there in the karting world about conformity and branding and how that adds horsepower, because to be honest, I'm an expert in that. Also, another expert in is working together, trying to fight through the pack. Once again, the 167, I said it was the 187, it's the 167, making an incredible move through there once again as I make just about just about the most spicy move of the weekend, hanging it around the outside for 2 turns in a row, sending him straight to the back. And another one who's been straight to the back is the number 8 right here. And throughout this session, we're going to try to make a bit of a peace treaty, because if you'll notice, it's position 9 for us, and we have all the leaders right there in front of us. These laps are, I forget how long, a little bit longer than what we see at Apex, and we also see a little bit of shuffling going on in front of us. So we have signed a peace treaty. We have determined that we are going to work together for a better future, something that some countries should probably do, and it would pretty much benefit them. Because what other countries are doing right now is what the 2 factory car teammates have done to themselves, and taken each other out in spectacular fashion, in an explosive fashion, after the end of the straight. But what that does do for us, as the 2 people who are working together, as some countries should in modern day history at the moment, is gaining 2 positions together as a family. Now, we're going to go into this right here. They're all coalesced all together. We have 3 more laps to go. We're just about to get into the final 2 laps. We have a little bit of a gap to make, but I believe we can do it. We know that there's always going to be shuffling of the packs, especially when it's this big. Everyone is going to be wanting to make a gain on everybody else, but we're going to see if we can make a gain for ourselves as we get in here. Toby behind us, the number 8, in the C-Rock or the Croc or whatever the hell it is giving us the thumbs up. We are working together. We are going to make sure that we can get this gap. I look back, he's looking at me, he's saying, let's work together, I'm not going to pass you, and I trust him. So what that is going to do for us is continue to push us just a little bit further. We have some more shuffling up front, and it is just benefiting us a whole lot. Almost 3 wide going into there. Look how much time we're able to gain as I'm able to send it up on the inside. We have the Raffi Racing crew right here bombing each other out into the oblivion, as other YouTubers might say, the Shadow Realm. But that is a Super GT term, that is not a me term, so I'm going to call it the suboptimal racing line. So, as you can tell, we are in position number 4. This person is going extremely defensive for absolutely no reason. Take the draft, whatever. Going defensive once again, making sure that I don't send in the world's deepest dive bomb, and he absolutely did an incredible job at me blocking it off. As we go in to this final rounds right here, we have the leaders duking it out, and we are able to kind of stay back. We have Toby under threat. We need to make sure that I don't put myself under threat, so I'm going to go here. I'm going to go defensive, making sure that he doesn't make a move on me. It is time to remove this peace treaty, as it is that point in time where we must not work together anymore. However, we get that thumbs up. We are both super happy with the job that's been done. At the end of the day, as we work together, push through the field, I don't think I've had a race where I've made up that many positions just working together with somebody else. So what that really did for us was put us in a really good standing in points. And one, because 2 of the people that were in front of me were the 2 factory kart drivers, Cade and William, who had done really well. I mean, really throughout this whole event, they lost a ton of points in that. Kind of like how I just lost a ton of positions in this first turn. In the second turn as well, we kind of gained some back a little bit, and it's just not looking too good. It's not looking as good as it was in the last race. But we're gonna tuck in behind here the VLR drivers. I'm getting it all confused, just like I'm getting it all confused in the Apex. And we have the ultimate threat right here from the Burrell Tony Kart mashup driver making a comeback. And we have ourselves a little bit of a no man's land as we kind of get into the halfway mark through this lap number 2. There's been a ton of shuffling, but I haven't really been able to capitalize. And going back to what I was going to say a few minutes ago, was during the practice sessions, I was really trying to fiddle with the rear end, trying to find that window, so to speak, where the kart was working how I wanted it to. when I first got there, the first few sessions, the rear end was just a bit unpredictable. And it wasn't until the final session of the day where I finally found the pace that I needed. However, usually when you find the pace that you need, you're happy, everything's good. It's all sunflowers and more sunflowers as I go into the back of the 55. Wasn't trying to, but we're gonna see how much time we lost just by me kind of making that mistake. But also I wasn't expecting people to just go sideways into each other into these turns. But at the end of the day, kind of lost some time there. I'm gonna see if we can maybe make that time back, which we didn't, which means that now I'm under threat from the 167, I believe, if I got that right. And she's not going to wait to make an overtake on me and that long swooping right hander. She's just going to get right past me like a breeze right here. So, as I was saying, probably on a lower gear, all those overtakes are just through that part of the track where I'm losing time, losing positions to these people in the easiest way too. It's extremely hard to defend against someone who's just going faster than you in a straight line. Now, that's something I probably could have defended. However, didn't work out for me either. Now, maybe if I didn't lose a lot of time in the straight, I wouldn't have been overtaken right there. But these are things that I need to start realizing and noting as I get into this two-stroke, where it's not necessarily a rev limiter that you're hitting, but it's more a power band that you want to be within, because those things will just rev for pretty much forever. As we are now behind Rafi once again. We have Seth behind us, I think, once again, and then Diego behind us as well. So we are, as a family, together, fighting for the final position in the top 10 as we approach halfway through the lap. But as I was saying, in the Friday practice, I finally found that pace that I needed in the final session, but I just wasn't feeling too good about it. And as Seth tries to make a move on me, but I have the slipstream, we're going to see how much of a difference it actually makes when you're behind somebody else. You can see how much faster I'm able to accelerate. Also with that taller gear ratio, sort of say, because he's actually on the same gear, however, he's on the 6-inch rim. So he does have a bit more rollout than I do. So I do need to worry about that a little bit, but at the same time, we're not going to actually worry about that because we have some people that we can potentially overtake, and we're going to just try and work together a little bit to get in front of them. So back to this Friday thing that I've been trying to say for the longest time, as Seth makes a move on me, not down the straight, which isn't ideal for me. But whatever, we're going to work together. We're not going to start fighting right now. We still have these people nice and close to us, so it's more just a matter of working together. As he says right there in the straight, we're not going to fight. I think Diego's not going to fight me as well, so we're just going to continue on our path to potentially better results. So he takes a slightly different line through there, which I noticed, I thought it was him trying to get past me on the final lap or the lap before, as Diego says, let's work together, but it just seems to be the line he takes. He also takes a bit of a narrower line through there. However, in this instant, he actually went a bit too deep on the brakes, kind of like what I did at the beginning of the race, where I dropped pretty much all the positions I had gained with the full help of Toby. Now, there's a little bit of fighting going on between Seth and Diego right there. Seth kind of gets the worst end of it, and we're going to see right here how much time they're actually able to gain on me once we start hitting rev limiter. You're going to see Diego's just catching, and that is a whole bunch of time that I am losing just because I don't have the right gear. But enough of that. We are in about a lap and a half to go. With all the shuffling that we've had ourselves, we have lost touch with the people in front of us, which isn't good. However, at least I guess I'm still top 10. Sort of okay, sort of whatever. To be honest, it was a pretty frustrating kind of weekend where I just felt lost in terms of the setup, and part of me was thinking, man, is it my driving? What am I missing? What am I forgetting? What am I not seeing here, right? Now, I guess it was just a bit more comforting that it was not just me, it was Diego, it was Seth. I mean, we've seen it before. We've raced against a lot of these people, and yes, maybe it was our home track, but to be just that much further off, it didn't make sense to me. And it was a pretty frustrating Friday as I go defensive through there, as it is the final lap. It is way too far-fetched of a thought to think we're going to make up more positions, so I'm just going to go ahead and defend myself from an imminent loss of the 11th place, which is the most important place because it's a double first place if you do the math correctly and add the ones together. So it's a pretty good position you want to be in. As we show right here, the incredible progress that Diego made, the not so incredible progress that Seth made, but the terrible, terrible negative progress that I made, losing 7 positions. Just about 7 more positions than you would like to lose in a race. But as we get started, we're going to see what we can do, and we make up all those positions right away, making sure that we get the most incredible jump start ever to not be penalized and not be redone. So we are in the most incredible position. All the misfortune that we have had, which is technically not misfortune, is more just a lack of pace, we are gaining that back, and we are now in an incredible position to make an incredible result. Basically today, we had all the luck we needed, pretty much. We had 2 sets of teammates taking each other out. We had the most incredible start ever to not be restarted. And it is just pretty much everything you've ever needed. You've heard the saying before, had the pace, but not the luck. This is all the luck, but not the pace, as we are checking back, because once again, we are under threat from just about everyone in the top 10 who wants to get past me, as I get the double train going through here. And we could probably consider that the triple train, actually, by the triple train by the number 3 here, that when you actually rotate it 90 degrees, it's an M. I think the team name is M3 or 3M, probably M3 because 3M, they make tape. So pretty clever stuff there if you ask me. Now, not so clever is going a little bit offline. We have some more rapidly fast people behind me who I am not going to try to defend against, as you see them just getting right past me. The number 55, we have seen each other in the past, mainly just him getting past me, so not ideal. We're just going to tuck in and see if I can just maybe at some point benefit from someone's slipstream who's not just going to fly away from me. And now we have ourselves another VLR driver behind us. We have Kate, another very fast driver, and the 167 getting a little bit of a taste of her own medicine. However, I make the mistake to try to hang it around the outside for absolutely no reason, and I lose just about a million more positions. So we have the VLRs in front of us who have absolutely just trained me. This lap was probably the worst lap in the history of go-karting in terms of how many positions can you lose without DNFing. So we have the Raffi Racing Squad right behind us. We have Matthew Ruth, Innovative Karting, supplying the parts, supplying the race fuel, and supplying the train that is going to get past me right now at the moment, and Raffi is going to try to capitalize as well. We're going to see what we can do. I go on the brakes a little bit early, dive around the inside, and it's probably the most incredible, evasive train maneuver there. I had the experience. I'd seen all the training action that had gone on, and I learned how to avoid it. However, what this means is he's very far away, and that is kind of not ideal. But at the same time, I'm thinking, all these people at the moment have way more pace than me, so I might as well slow down my downfall, right? Because we're just trying to do best case scenario here. So yeah, as I was saying, at the end of the day, not at the end of the day, right now in this moment of the race, I'm extremely frustrated. And not necessarily like at the moment driving. It's more just a matter of, like, for example, that person right there in front of us, Mr. Raffi, that is frustrated. He is very frustrated with me. I think, to be honest, I just put in a super freaking awesome move that he had no idea it was coming. He thought he had that solidified, and it wasn't, as we are rejoined with Seth behind us again and Diego. They seem to have just been, buddy-buddy throughout the whole race. But, as I was saying, it wasn't necessarily frustrated, but it was kind of just, like, trying to figure out what exactly is it that's going on. What is the reason that I'm just falling so far behind literally everybody else? As Seth makes a move up on the inside, we're gonna tuck behind. I'm not gonna try and fight him. These people are right there in front of us. It is not worth it. But Seth is somebody else who was sharing that frustration. Diego was somebody else that was sharing that frustration. And actually, what's pretty cool for Diego, a lot of his friends kind of like piled in some money to help him race and to help him get out here. So I think it was actually really cool. One thing that I thought would be really cool is if Seth went on offline, just let me tuck in right in front of him. Clearly that didn't happen. We lost more time, but whatever. We're gonna keep working together and seeing what we can do. But yeah, that was really cool on Diego's side. You know, people helping him out to go race, which is always awesome. Always good stuff. And you know, just honestly, pretty cool that he can make it out here. Now, as I'm saying, as we were approaching a little bit past the half race distance, we were, I believe, third at one point, fourth at one point. We are 13th at the moment. Now, if you know a thing or two about math, 13 is bigger than 3, but that also means you get less points. And less points is less bigger than more points. So this whole, you know, winning the event, kind of out the door at the moment, right? Unless something crazy happens. And yeah, because we're already at race 4, pretty much, as I was talking about earlier, more than halfway through the season, even though that race 5 and 6 are going to be worth a lot more points. It's looking a little bleak for us. However, we can't give up. We got to stay focused. And we have to see what we can do here at the moment to just work the best we can, salvage as much points as possible. We're once again losing touch, but it's interesting how we all tend to kind of coalesce at the same point in the track. So at the moment, we need to bring it home. We need to be safe. We need to be intelligent. We need to make smart moves, and you're about to find out. Everything I've just said, I threw it out the window in that moment. So probably the most unideal thing. This actually was, to be honest, probably the lowest moments of my racing career, I believe. No, I know for sure. As you can see right here, actually kind of funny if you look at it as a third party, as Diego gives the nice head shake. And the reason for that was, one, I DNF'd, and it had been a while since I've DNF'd like that. I don't think I've ever DNF'd for doing something like that. As I try to get the go-kart started for probably about 2 minutes, a minute and a half, until I realized that the same carts had gone past me twice. But check this out. I'm going to pull it one more time, and it starts right up. Pretty incredible, right? Just so happens to work like that. I think when you crash, Steve was telling me, sometimes the carburetor will flood, and it'll just be super hard to start. I believe that's what the reason is. And yeah, but not only is it good to crash, it's also not good to take your teammate out with you in a moment where you kind of needed those points. So I kind of went over, apologized. Obviously, that doesn't make up for what I did, because what I did was not too smart, and you can see that walk of shame of me walking back. But day 2 went a lot better. I promise you, I'll be way more happy at the end of it, because I think we did a lot better at redeeming ourselves. And I'm going to come back in a little bit after the break, as I am now preparing myself to go home for the Christmas holidays. It's been a lot. I've had a lot of videos that I've been wanting to push out. It's been kind of tough. I've had a lot of travel with work, a lot of travel for holidays. For those of you who know, I actually have a Sprinter van down in Florida that I'm looking to bring back, and it's kind of been a total nightmare. I found out that the van has had several issues throughout the course of the 4 months that I've had it already, and we'll see. Hopefully we can bring it back Hopefully, maybe I'll use it as a down payment for something else. I think all of that is going to be determined in the future, but at the moment, we're going to worry about closing out the video and me not ranting for the next 20 minutes anymore. So, thank you for watching. I'll be back with better videos, with better racecraft decisions.